Hey guys, in this video I'm going to show you a foolproof way on how to mic up a guitar amp. First things first, before we put any mics on it or play with any settings, let's just grab a guitar, plug it in, and then dial in a sound. Sounds pretty cool. Alright, let's start miking this bad boy up. Alright, you might already know, but it's pretty general practice to use 2 mics on a guitar amp. If you don't have 2 mics, just grab one. That is totally cool. You can get good results with 1 mic. Now, the 2 mics that I like to use are an SM57 and a ribbon style mic. This one is a clone of a Roya 121. It's made by a guy in Melbourne called Open Plan Recording. He does some really cool ribbon mics, so you should check him out. This is not a sponsored ad, he just makes cool mics. Now, the reason I use a SM57, a dynamic mic, and a ribbon mic is the dynamic mic's gonna give us a pretty balanced sound. It's gonna have all the highs, the mids, the lows, and it's a very mid-forward kind of mic, this one. Now the ribbon mic, this is going to be a little bit more low-end focused, especially depending how close we put it to the speaker. We'll get a bit of proximity effect, and the closer you go, a bit more bass. So we can get some really nice fullness out of the ribbon mic, and when we blend the 2 together, you can generally always find a balance that you like. We need a torch, so you've got a phone with a torch on it, turn that on. We're going to come up and have a look behind the mesh so we can see where the speaker is and place these mics properly. So I'm going to start with the SM57. I'm going to have a look and place it where I want it. The general placement I like to start with a microphone is just on the edge of the cap in the center of the speaker. Generally, I'm not a big fan of directly in the center. You get a lot of harsh frequencies that poke through there. Just off the center, near that edge of the cap, sounds pretty good, and then you can move your way out if you need a darker tone, or if you feel like you need a brighter, then you can start bringing it more into the center. Now, the distance from the mesh that I usually go for is about a 2-finger gap. So obviously, the closer you go, the more proximity you get. The further you go, the tone's going to shift and you might start to get more of the room sound around the mic. Generally, I'm after a fairly direct sound from the speaker, so keeping it fairly close works well for me. Let's chuck the ribbon mic on. Okay, now because this is a 2x12 combo, I'm going to put a mic on each speaker. You can choose to mic one speaker if you prefer, but generally, I don't think it matters too much. If you think one speaker sounds better than the other, then go for it. On this amp, it sounds fine miking both. Sometimes it can be kind of hard to see through these meshes, especially with the lights for the camera. It's making it a bit harder to see through here. Okay, so by also doing that 2-finger gap measurement, I'm making sure that these capsules are equal distance from the speaker. That means when they come in, they're going to be in phase already, and we're not going to have to worry about fixing them post. If the capsules of your mics are not lined up properly while you're tracking, you're probably going to hear some weird phase filter combing going on when you're listening back in the control room. So try and line these up as best as you can, and if you can't, you might just need to listen to one of them while tracking and then fix the phase alignment post. Especially if you decide to put like a room mic in front of the amp, you're going to have to find the phase that works best between all these mics and the room mic so you don't get weird filter combing. All right, so they're both roughly in the same position, just off that center on the edge of the cap. Let's plug these in. All right, now let's go see what these sound like. So before we do any actual recording, this next step's pretty crucial. So if you take anything away from this video, take this step away, because this, I wish I knew this when I first started recording. Whenever you track guitars, use a DI at the front of your chain. So the guitar is going to plug into the input, and then if you're using a pedal board, you run from the through into your first pedal, like where you would plug in your guitar. And if you're going straight into an amp, take the through and plug that into your amp. That way we get a clean signal of the guitar before anything else. This is super useful if you find that later on the guitar tone you've tracked from the amp is not working. You can reamp your guitar signal or use a virtual amp. This can really save the day if things are not working out properly with the tone. All right, let's check out how this guitar sounds. All right, some jazzy chords for you. And that's all there is to it though. To get a nice tone out of your amp, if you just follow those steps with the mic placements, getting a good tone and a sound out of the amp before you even start doing anything is very important. If the amp and the guitar sound good together, then you're going to be able to get a good tone if you follow those steps. It's not rocket science. If you feel like your tone's a little too bright, move your mic a little bit further to the edge, or you could blend in a little bit more of your ribbon mic if you're doing that combination. As you could hear in that little demo, the 57 was a lot brighter, and I guess you could say harsher, than the ribbon mic, but by blending them together, you get a really nice balance. For anyone who's new to miking up guitar amps, I hope you found this useful, and definitely take that DI trick away with you. Always track a DI when you track guitars. It's just like a fail safe. You need to have that there just in case. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. I'll see you in the next video.